The community asked about the story, and I have a lot to say, but I also want to preface this video by saying I've not played the full game, and I've only had hands-on at multiple events, and I wanted to just continue my coverage by sharing some of my experience with the game and all the research that I've done throughout the time. We're going to go through some footage from the official channels, and then of course the extra footage that I was sent or exclusive things as well. And feel free to drop your questions and comments, because this actually came from a viewer who requested for me to share my expectations of the story, because the conversation is it's a big world, what is there to do, and all of that good stuff. I think it's only right, you know, we dive into this again together as we go. First things first, Crimson Desert comes out on March 19th, and my thoughts and feelings are based off of the hands-on feel of the game and all the good details that we got. Game's coming out on all platforms, unlocked frame rates, and interesting, no microtransactions outside of the deluxe edition content. They're not releasing anything at the moment, like time savers or cosmetic cash grabs or anything like that. So there goes that. But we're going to get into the world and talk about a couple of things before we get into everything. So the map size is larger than Red Dead Redemption 2 is what is there said, as well as 2 times bigger than Skyrim. And I don't even know what that is. I haven't went back and measured those games. Know that they're pretty big. And so it is what it is. So there's 5 regions, and each of the regions have different styles to them. Some have like the castle lands, and others have Cliff's homeland, which is up north, and then you have the hostile wilderness area, you have the forest / magic dense focus place, and then last but not least, the Crimson Desert, where the central conflict zone is. Okay, these are the main areas, and these are the things that you're going to be dealing with. And in the background, there's some footage of them, not all of it, but pieces of it for you to know what's going on, and you can work on it. Right. So this chemistry engine is pretty cool. Things like fire spread dynamically, burning wood, melting ice, creating drifts for gliding and things like that. That's a real engine thing. The reason this is important is because the storytelling is also for you, and I want to kind of get into that as I present some of the key information about the game. What does that mean? That means that you are a dynamic piece that can change your environment in some kind of ways, whether it's subtle, like I said, with the fire, burning some trees down, wood down, or other elements. Okay. So for example, ice can freeze water, creating a bridge or a platform. It is possible. How will that play out? We'll see, but it is something that's happening. Same thing with lightning. It can go through water and metal. You know, things of that nature, which would be interesting. And then wind, of course, helping you glide and get to the abyss, things like that, using your abyss abilities or whatever the case may be. And so that, it to me, is special. And we're not going to get into combat because I have a deep dive about that, and you'll watch some combat in the background, but I'll just say this about it. You can go watch the full breakdown of my combat impressions of my hands-on and breaking down the footage. But what I can say, the combat is a big part of the game story as well, because as you go along, you'll be learning tactics and abilities and basically becoming stronger as a combat focused fighter when you're ready. But there's a lot of different elements as well that you'll get as you go forward. Okay, so things like telekinesis, being able to pick up some rocks with your mind and things of that nature are possible. Okay, but I want to kind of get into the progression. Even though this is a story focused video, this is basically an anti-RPG system is what I'm calling it. That they don't want you to just, oh, I gotta level up and spend hours trying to grind out. Instead, you'll go out, You'll learn skills, you learn abilities. There's no XP bar, there's no level gating. You can go wherever you want to go, fight the hardest boss immediately if you want. It's about your toolkit. It's about all the things you're watching in the background. You're capable of finding new abilities, learning new tools and things like that, and unlocking new weapons by, you know, getting out there and going. Even fishing, as you can see, it's something you're going to learn that can be useful. So that is pretty cool in my opinion. Now you can get max health and stamina by going around and things like that, but your level is your gear, right? So that's kind of what they said. It's not you, the character, trying to level up your character. And so that's going to be an interesting system, and it's different, but that is its own story in my opinion, where I'm going to observe somebody, you know, mining, and I'll learn how to do that trick, or fishing as we saw. And then I'm also fighting enemies who I can learn their abilities. All of these things are possible because of that system where it's about discovery and finding your way. And to me, that's important because it is special. And I want to kind of take a pause and talk about these characters. You play 3 different characters, and in the side stories you can play with the other characters, and then the main storyline would be with Cliff, who's our main character. I'm trying to be vague about the actual story because I want you guys to go into it with open arms. Okay, I'm giving you my expectations of the information that we know. Okay, Cliff is our main character, and then you can switch over to Damian. I call him Damian, and Uma. Okay, and those are pretty cool things for side mission and whatever you want to do out there as you go forward. Pretty amazing, and I'm excited to kind of see how that all works as we go forward. Now there's a lot of factions, and there's a lot of different elements in the game for you to kind of discover and figure out on your own. And I'm here to tell you, you know, have fun, don't rush it, take your time. See what you find is the main question, the main conversation in this whole thing as you go forward, because life is short. Enjoy it, right? So it's a living world. There's factions and the economy as well. But as you travel, you'll meet different factions, different people, and you could work with them or against them, and you could work or just be neutral and they won't bother you. So there's ways in the world that these relationships can build, and you can start creating your own story within it. And the reason this is important is, like, my expectations is I just want to get lost in that. I can care less about, okay, does this have the best voice actor and the best cinematic? Of course we want that. I don't think anybody's going to say don't give it to me, but at the same time, if you have a great cutscene but the rest of the game is not good, I mean, what does it matter? So for me, the fact that this game has this big building world where you're rebuilding, and to kind of spoil a little thing, you're rebuilding your faction and your crew as you go, and you're becoming goated. And so that takes time, right? So you have a HUD and you have a place to build and recruit NPCs and to build your army per se. It's possible. And it's up to you. You can start fights or you can solve things. Okay. There's mission systems and things you can do with the characters that you recruit. So very interesting. And another conversation is the wanted system. So if you become wanted, maybe you're a thief or murderer, they can generate a bounty on your head and people can come hunt you down and try to take you out. So you have to be careful depending on what city you're in and what type of reputation you built. It is a big factor. Okay. So to me, that is storytelling in itself, because now I created a villain character while you created a superhero that everybody adores. Okay. And then the same thing with the economy. You can do a bunch of activities and gain rewards or abilities, right? Arm wrestling, archery, horse racing, fist fighting, tournaments, and gambling. All of that will play a role in learning new skills and abilities that you're going to use in combat and in different things out in the world. There's even a trade system, which I don't know much about, but the fact that there's a market set up for things is interesting, where they talked about how gear might be able to scale as far as like fluctuating prices, which would be super interesting if they did that, turning into the real world. As far as food, food will heal you, of course, and then you can do what you want to do. They said you can get a lot of food, like 99. You can carry 99 meals or something like that. Now, I don't know if this is true. Again, this is before the game releases. That information is true. That's a lot of healing off of food. But hey, more power to them. And the cool part is this is a playground. In the footage that you saw a second ago, Traversal, you have the climbing. You're able to climb walls like Assassin's Creed style and just get up in parkour a bit, but you don't have to. You can just use your glider and fly through the air as well. You have a triple jump, which is very good. Even the grapple swing, which is amazing. And of course you have the mount where you can jump on your horse or the dragon. And there's some mechs in this game. And it might not look like it, but it does have some mechs. Okay. And that's where, to me, all that is a part of the story. The reason I'm listing it is because you're telling your own story. Maybe you want to just walk around the whole time and clear out every area while I'm sitting there running around with the dragon, torturing the cities. You know, these things are possible. Now, I'm not here to tell you how to play or how to experience that part of the story, but the fact that this company is deciding to actually make a freedom version of the game is spectacular. And that, to me, is the defining way to play this game. Just my personal opinion. Figure out what you feel like being. Want to be a superhero or a bad guy? Make the game harder on yourself by being the villain. Or you could just form alliances. Have a good time doing it that way. This is not an MMO. It's a single player game. It's not a Soulslike. It's an action adventure hybrid. And there's no online. It's a standalone client. And yeah, that's the key things. And so you're going to be able to just dive deep into this universe, learn more, grow, develop, prosper in your own ways, have fun. That's the key. That's the goal. I think we should all strive for that, shouldn't we? That's just my opinion. And that right there, my friends, is my expectations for those that were asking. Appreciate the question. You got me to make a whole video about it and spend a good amount of time on it. And with all that being said, I'm actually going to just allow this to play a little bit so you can hear the game. And then we'll go. By the way, apologies, this video is over. We'll have deep dives in all the video footage that I have on my streams, and I have a deep dive on combat popping up on screen. So check that out. We appreciate your time, your energy. Take care.